Before we get into the video, 95% of you are not subscribed, so do so now and enjoy the movie reading. They Live, a screenplay by Frank Armitage. Based upon the short story 8 o'clock in the morning. And within the depths of the valley, where light reaches not, move forms not meant to be beheld. H.P. Lovecraft. We begin with the main titles over a wall of graffiti. The camera moves off the wall as a massive train clanks past beyond, its last car rumbling out of the way to reveal John Nada, 30s, rugged, strong, an old sleeping bag and a pack of tools on his back. He's been riding the rails, homeless. They call him the working poor. He strides across the tracks, a big man, proud, his eyes squinting at the sun. We continue the main titles on the streets beside the Los Angeles train yard. Nada walks along a street, past the train yard, towards the skyscrapers of downtown Los Angeles in the background. We close on Nada, as a thumping sound in the sky grabs his attention. His point of view sees a police helicopter drifting past downtown buildings. As Nada walks over a hill, down towards the canyons of skyscrapers below, like a man descending down into hell. The main titles continue and we enter a state unemployment office. Nada enters the massive unemployment office. He checks the board for job listings. He finds none. Then he looks over. His point of view sees a packed house. A mass of unemployed sit waiting for job interviews, filling out endless forms. Some families, faces of every color. Some time passes, and now Nada is being interviewed for a job. The female interviewer sleepwalks through her job. She's conducted the same interview one too many times today. Last place of employment? Denver, Colorado. I worked there for 10 years. Then things just seemed to dry up. They lost 14 banks in 1 week. The female interviewer shoots him a sleepy glance. So, well, I heard there was work in California. I tried San Diego. Nothing there. Now I've come to LA. The female interviewer writes offhandedly. Nada can tell he's eating it bad. There's nothing available for you right now. Well, at least it's warmer here. Thank you very much. Nada strolls into a city park. We continue the main titles. A homeless man sleeps on a park bench. Yuppie secretaries on their lunch break sit on the grass, eating takeout sushi. Nearby lies a homeless man sprawled as if dead. The secretaries pay no attention. A police car cruises slowly past the park. We move focus to the foreground. A black Vietnam vet sits dazedly, staring off. Two expensively dressed yuppie lawyers walk briskly along chatting, oblivious to a bum lying in the street at their feet. A street preacher holds court. A small crowd has gathered around him. They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful. Nada moves closer now, up to the rear of the small crowd. The street preacher is black and blind. It looks as if his eyelids have been sewn shut over empty sockets. He is impassioned. They have blinded us from the truth. Our human spirit has been corrupted. Why do we worship greed? Why, when we say family values, do we mean censorship? A skinhead, 20s, shaved head, olive drab army fatigues, swastika pins and combat boots, seethes nearby. Go back to Africa! Why is it acceptable in America to be racist? A black man yells at the skinhead. Hey, pig! Get out of here! The skinhead and the black man begin a scuffle. A few punches are thrown, but nothing. Because outside the limits of our sight, feeding on us, perched on top of us, from birth to death, are our owners. They are all around us, right now, right behind us. The crowd is loving it. As Nada glances over, the police car has stopped. 2 cops get out, come this way. Now the crowd around Nada begins moving away fast. As the cops pull their nightsticks, Nada moves away too, along with the flow, glancing back over his shoulder, his point of view as the cops break up the scuffle, rousting the antagonists. A woman leads the street preacher away to safety. We continue the main titles on an appliance store. A black street kid, 18, stands staring at TV sets on the other side of a display window. All the sets are tuned to the same station, Cable 54. We see the Cable 54 logo. Images of happy Americans rejoicing, jumping up in the air and slapping hands in slow motion. Here pulsing electronic music. America wants straight talk. We need the truth. We know who we are and what we believe in. Cable 54 is all American. Nada walks past, across a dark intersection. Nada is tucked away against a retaining wall on a vacant lot. Other homeless sleep around him. His sleeping bag spread out, he stares into the darkness. His point of view through the window of a nearby brownstone, seeing an elderly woman sitting motionless watching TV. On the screen, a pretty ingenue is emoting dreamily, accompanied by melodramatic music. We can just hear her dialogue. Sometimes when I watch TV, I stop being myself. I'm the star of a series. I have my own talk show. Or maybe I'm on the news, getting out of a limousine, going someplace important. All I ever have to do is be famous. People watch me and love me. I never grow old. I never die. Nada looks away and glances up. A police helicopter moving by overhead. A big construction site. A condo or apartment building is going up. Men at work. Some heavy machinery. Hard sunlight. Nada walks across the site up to the foreman, a grim, sunburned man in his 50s. You need anybody? A beat as the foreman looks Nada over. Maybe. I got my own tools. This is a union job. Nada glances over. Several Chicano workers nearby. So then may I please talk to the shop steward? The foreman just looks at him. Sir? Now Nada is working. He carries heavy stuff. He digs. He sweats in the sun. Frank, 30s, black, big, works nearby. He looks up and over at Nada. Nada looks back. They exchange glances. End of the day. Workers leaving. Sun getting lower in the sky. The foreman stops as Nada loads his tools into his bag. There's no sleeping at the site, so park your ass someplace else for the night. The foreman turns to walk away. Excuse me. The foreman turns back to Nada. Then when do I get paid? Thursday. Although he doesn't like it much, Nada just watches as the foreman strolls off. Now Frank comes up. You need a place to stay? Nada doesn't reply. He continues packing up his tools. Justiceville's over on 4th Street. They got hot food and showers. A beat. No reply. I'm going that way if you want me to show you. Nada gives no answer. Frank shrugs and moves on. Frank walks along the street. A block behind him comes Nada following. Frank turns and notices him but keeps walking. Now Nada is just 30 feet or so behind Frank. Finally, Frank stops and waits for Nada to catch up. I don't like nobody following me, unless I know why. A beat passes. I don't join up with nobody until I see where he's going. They stare at each other for a beat, and then Frank grins. Justiceville, a transient outpost, a makeshift shower building, porta potties. A food line stretches from the back of a truck. Families mostly, a few drifters, bums, all colors. Some very all-American looking families are living out of their cars. Kids play in the field. Another area of the field, tents are set up. Lean-tos, sleeping bags spread around. Nada takes it all in as he follows Frank up to Gilbert, 40s, Justiceville's main cop and handyman. He's working unloading old furniture from the back of a truck. This is Gilbert. Anything you need, he knows how to find it. Hi. What do you got in the pack? Tools? Yeah. Great. If you can use them, we can use you. The shower's caving in. Nada and Frank in the food line, filling their plates. A brown-haired woman serves them. Nada and Frank carry their food across the field, looking for a spot to eat. It's a miracle we all survive from day to day. The world is so filled with assholes. I do assholish things too, but I don't do them deliberately. Nada and Frank sit eating their dinner. Got a wife and 2 kids back in Detroit. Haven't seen them in 6 months. Steel mills are laying off people right and left. They finally went under. Frank takes a mouthful of food. We gave the steel companies a break when they needed it. They gave themselves raises. It's the golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the rules. Now Frank stares out across the field. If they close one more factory, we should just take a sledge to one of their fancy fucking foreign cars. You've got to have a little patience with life. Yeah, well, I'm all out. Nada and Frank walk off their dinners. Through the field of tents, sleeping bags, and makeshift shelters. The whole deal's like some kind of crazy game. They put you at the starting line, and the name of the game is to make it through life. But everybody's out for themselves and trying to do you in at the same time. Okay, man, here you are. Do what you can. But remember, I'm going to do the best to blow your ass away. It's deep in the race. Snake brain. Everyone's got one. Hidden way down under all that love and peace. Yeah? So how you gonna make it? I deliver a hard day's work for my money. I just want the chance. It'll come. I believe in America. I follow the rules. Everybody's got their own hard times these days. Then we hear a voice, juddering, distorted, coming out of a wave of interference. Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. Now Nada, the drifter, and the family man all wince slightly, as if they've been suddenly awakened out of a deep sleep. Goddamn hacker, second time tonight this asshole's cut in. Bzzz, and the audio comes out of a signal noise again. The movement began 8 months ago when we discovered, quite by accident, these signals being... Nada and the drifter and the family man rub their heads, suddenly developing powerful headaches. This thing's giving me a headache. Hackers spend months figuring this out. FCC never catches them. But something catches Nada's eye. He turns. A few yards away stands the blind street preacher from the city park. His head tipped back slightly. He seems to have a strange, giddy smile on his face. Time passes. Nada sits alone. On the perimeter of Justiceville, surreptitiously drinking a can of beer. Campfires, flashlights, the glow of mercury vapor streetlights all around him. Nada glances over. A few feet away, Frank is sleeping atop of an old mattress. He's wrapped in layers of blankets. He snores. Nada takes a last gulp of beer, chucks the can in a paper sack. He glances up at the night sky. The Goodyear blimp, Columbia, glides majestically above the city, blinking and crawling with computerized lights. Time passes. Nada walks across the Justiceville field. He can't sleep, wired and tired. We time cut to the rec area. At the rear of the main shower building is a TV, hooked up and plopped on top of an old clothes dryer. A family man and a drifter sit on kitchen chairs, watching a commercial for press-on nails. Nada stops here for a moment, all three men just staring blankly at the screen. A beautiful upscale girl plays tennis on the TV, jogs in an expensive outfit, rushes to work in a nifty, trendy dress. If you think you can't wear press-on nails because of all the active things you do. Bzzz. Suddenly the commercial disappears into static, and then another image pops on. We're looking at the bearded man talking directly to camera. He stands in front of a blank clapboard wall. The scene is amateurishly lit. There's no sound at first, just a buzzing. Then we hear his voice, juddering, distorted, coming out of a wave of interference. The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressed society, and we are the unwitting accomplices. The interference washes out the bearded man's dialogue. Nada looks over, staring, on the blind street preacher. Now we see that he is actually mouthing the words in sync with the bearded man, as if he's memorized them. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They've made us indifferent to ourselves and to others. We are focused only on our own gain. The blind street preacher close up. His lips form the words along with the bearded man, as if he's preaching a sermon on Sunday morning. As long as they are not discovered, that's their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated. Now the drifter's on his feet, shuffling over to the TV, his hand on the channel changer. Blow it out your ass. Click. He changes over to another station, showing an old movie, and immediately the headaches disappear. What was he talking about? Who cares? He's just some puto getting himself on TV. The family man and the drifter return to their previous positions, staring at the TV as if in some kind of trance. Nada looks over again. The blind street preacher is walking away from the rec area toward the main entrance. Now Gilbert comes up to him. They talk intensely as Gilbert leads the street preacher along. Time passes on the Justiceville field as Nada enters frame. The camera moves with him across the field, slowly now, up to the main entrance. He looks. Gilbert leads the street preacher to an old clapboard church directly across the street. African Methodist Episcopal Free Church. Nada watches. Closer on the church. We see the street preacher and Gilbert enter a basement door at the side. Nada stares for a moment. He's curious, and then slowly turns back into Justiceville. The swollen sun creeps up slowly past the horizon, silhouetting the city. At the main entrance of Justiceville, Nada comes up. He carries a lunch sack and his pack of tools. Gilbert walks wearily across the street from the church into the main entrance, nodding a hello at Nada. He's been there all night. Choir practice went on a little late last night. Gilbert stops and smiles. Oh, the church lets us use their kitchen. At 4 a.m? Hey, we're taking care of a lot of people here. Gilbert walks off as Nada stares after him. Now Frank comes up, joins Nada, and they start for work. Nada and Frank walk on their way to work. I used to think everybody made their own luck. Sometimes, up until the day you get wheeled into the hospital, that's when your luck stops. Camera follows Nada and Frank as they enter the site. Other workers trickle in for the day's work. I had a crushed disc last year. 5 weeks in the hospital, man. Being in the hospital wasn't so bad. It's when I got out that things turned to shit. They begin unpacking their tools. How come you were there? I was electrocuted. Frank stares at him. Work in this old power company in Oregon. Bottom floor was flooded. I'm down there creeping along, water's up to my knees. Part of the wall gives way. Somebody yells, "Oh shit!" And this big, nasty cable comes flopping down into the hole. One end of it hits the water, and whammo. I wake up 3 weeks later, and I'm in intensive care, and my hair is gone. We time-cut Nada and Frank working together, carrying cinder blocks from a huge pile over to a partially completed wall. When I got back home, things started falling apart. I was climbing the walls. I spent hours staring at the refrigerator. I could hear it playing Twist and Shout. I couldn't sleep. My ears kept ringing all night long. Now Nada and Frank walk home from work. My wife had this toaster. You had to drop the English muffins in just right so they'd go down automatically. I couldn't get the English muffins to drop in. I'd stand there and drop them in easy, and then I'd drop them in hard, and then I'd slap them in. My wife says, "Look, just like this." She picks up an English muffin, drops it in the toaster. It goes down right away. Me? Was total bullshit. Nada and Frank have stopped off for a beer in a seedy little bar. I go downstairs one morning before my wife gets up. The 2 English muffins would not go down. A serene smile comes over Nada. So I threw the toaster against the wall. I picked it up and threw it against the wall again. I kept throwing it against the wall until I couldn't throw it anymore. I was just home from the hospital for a week, man. There are pieces of toaster everywhere. My wife never says a word. She just looks at me. I said, "The English muffins wouldn't go down, honey, you know?" Nada and Frank sit by their bedrolls in Justiceville. Another night in homeless America. "Where is she now?" No reply. "Ain't none of my business." She went to start the car one morning. The gas puddle stuck. Full on. What do they call it? Unintentional acceleration. Found her in a concrete wall. "I'm sorry, man." Nada, another private smile. There's a resignation to him, but not bitterness. "Don't be sorry for me. No use in that. My name's John Nada." Nada's the Spanish word for nothing. What I got coming to me is already planned out. Be somebody somewhere. There's nothing to be done about it. Like the turning of the earth. Sunday morning. A few kids play near a retaining wall on the perimeter. A 16-year-old boy looks through an old battered pair of binoculars. The long lens view of the binoculars sweeps Justiceville, moving from person to person, tent to lean-to. We stop for a beat on Gilbert having a conversation with the brown-haired lady who serves food. Then the view moves on. Suddenly the view stops against a close-up of Nada, smiling into camera, coming this way. The 16-year-old boy lowers his binoculars and looks up. as Nada walks by and smiles at him. The TV is on in the rec area. The drifter, the family man, and his 14-year-old son stare at the screen, again as if hypnotized. Gilbert walks up, begins work nearby on some sort of storage cabinet. A beer commercial on TV. Now static starts again. The commercial goes in and out until the bearded man suddenly pops on again. The hacker. Not again! It's the same location for the hacker. A blank wall behind him, amateur lighting and sound quality. They control the American dream. They are buying off the executive class and anyone else who dreams of being powerful, rich, conservative. The viewers in the rec area wince again as if they have been painfully awakened from some kind of trance. More static. As the drifter is on his feet, moving over to change the channel. This guy makes me want to puke. Don't change it. The drifter stops and looks. Nada's walked up. Daddy, I have a headache. Nada looks over. His point of view as Gilbert stares intently at the screen. They're dismantling the sleeping middle class. More and more people are becoming poor. We're their cattle. We're being bred for slavery. The drifter's hand is hovering by the channel changer. I just can't take this crap. Wait. We can't break the signal. Our transmitter isn't powerful enough. We must shut off the signal at its source. Suddenly the image disappears into harsh static, replaced by a card, please stand by. Then, a car commercial comes on. Everyone suddenly comes out of their pain, headache gone. Can somebody please explain to me what the hell that was all about? Just that idiot licking his nuts again. But Nada's watching. As Gilbert hurries away from the rec area toward the main entrance, as Nada walks up, he hears Rock of Ages, as sung by a black choir and congregation, soaring and swelling, coming from the AME Free Church across the street. Sunday morning services seem to be underway, and there's Gilbert entering the main doors into the sanctuary. The church as Nada moves up to the curb, down the sidewalk, around to the side of the church. Nada stops and looks. His point of view. The side door of the basement is open slightly. Nada stands there looking at it. He moves his gaze. The windows of the church, Rock of Ages, continues from the unseen congregation and choir inside. Nada thinks about it. Do I or don't I? He glances around. No one nearby. I do. He starts toward the door. Moving toward the basement door. It slowly opens. Nada peeks in. He looks around. No one is here. He quietly steps in. A full shot reveals stacks of cardboard boxes piled around everywhere. All the windows have been boarded up from the inside. Nada silently explores. Just past the stacks and stacks of cardboard boxes is a small area in the middle of the basement. What looks like a weird college chemistry lab has been set up along a long table. All sorts of strange equipment. Glass frames, stacks of optical glass, cutting tools. Nada looks over at it and glances up. Past the lab setup, more cardboard boxes, and written across one wall of the basement in shaky painted letters, They live, we sleep. Nada moves toward the wall, and then spots an old reel-to-reel tape deck sitting on a chair. Wires run from the tape deck up to the ceiling through a hole into the sanctuary above. Nada's eyes follow the wires up. We close on the wires coming up through a hole in the floor. The camera follows the wire to a set of speakers. Rock of Ages is playing very loud. The camera moves to reveal a video camera and a couple of lights. There's a blank wall. The set for that video hacker. The camera moves to reveal the sanctuary. There's no church service going on. Nobody sitting in the pews. Just a small microwave transmitter pointed out one of the windows. 8 people sit at a table near the front, mostly black and Latino, a couple of Asians, and the bearded man. And of course, Gilbert. There's an urgent meeting going on here. We have to face facts. Only a few seconds got on the air. It's time to forget about breaking in on top of their signal. They're going to jam us out again and again. Then we have to move the shipment out on the street. No, it won't work that way. We've been through all this. We don't have any other choice. Now Nada is listening, trying to hear the faint voices from above. He leans back, straining to hear, touching the wall behind him. Wham! A panel in the wall suddenly falls open, revealing more cardboard boxes tucked away in a little cubbyhole. Nada is frozen. He listens to Rock of Ages continuing from the tape deck, echoing loudly from above. Maybe nobody heard him. No one did. We can keep robbing banks and manufacturing Hoffman lenses until we're blue in the face, but we're just not going to get the spread. Quickly, Nada moves the wall panel back into place. Jams it in hard so it won't fall again. He tries a couple of times. The fucker won't move. Now he steps back quietly and moves for the door. Wham! The blind street preacher is standing right behind him, reaching out to grab his arm. It scares the shit out of Nada. He jumps back, out of the street preacher's grip. Whoa! Nada continues to back away. Sorry, just leaving. Just wanted to close your door. Didn't want nobody breaking in. Neighborhood watch. The street preacher moves slowly towards Nada. Let me touch your face. And now the street preacher's coming up to Nada, putting his hands on Nada's face, running the ends of his fingers across Nada's cheeks. Good. Your hands? He takes Nada's hands and feels the calluses. You're a working man. Nada backs away as the street preacher reaches in his coat, fumbling around for something. It's the revolution. Let me show you. Maybe some other time. I really gotta be going. And Nada quickly steps to the door. This world may have blinded me, but the world has let me see. You'll be back. Nada emerges from the basement as a whopping sweeps overhead. His point of view, a police helicopter thumps by right over the church only about 100 feet in the air. Nada moves away from the church back to the street. Now, through the main doors, Gilbert and a black man step out and look up. They both wear sunglasses. Now Gilbert looks over at Nada. Nada just keeps walking, looking at Gilbert. Nada moves back to the main entrance. He stops and looks back. The main doors. Gilbert and the black man duck back inside. As the whopping sound draws Nada's gaze upward again, his point of view, the helicopter makes a second low-level pass over the church. A bull session is going down. Frank sits with the family man and the drifter. As the dialogue plays, see Nada walking from the main entrance toward the field where those kids are playing. Frank notices him go by. I've been hearing something on the street last couple of weeks. Weird stuff. Some kind of epidemic of violence is what they're saying. Who's saying? Mostly guys drifting through from out of town. I was talking to this one boy from San Anselmo, saying there's some kind of cult up there. End of the world sort of thing. mostly in small towns up north, not in any of the big cities yet. What are they doing? Just raising hell, shooting people up, robbing banks, same old thing as always. People going nuts over some crazy dream they just had. The field where the 16-year-old with the binoculars plays, as Nada comes up to him. Can I borrow these for a while? You want to know the truth? This kind of shit happens at the end of every century. Just people scared of the future, that's all it is. During this, Frank looks over. The retaining wall at the perimeter. Nada is half crouched behind the wall, looking through those binoculars. We close on Nada as he watches, through binoculars, the side of the church. Another station wagon is parked by the basement door. Gilbert and the black man each carry several of the cardboard boxes from the basement to the open truck. They are hurrying along. Christ the Lord has risen today, coming from inside the church. Nada as Frank comes up. What's happening? As Gilbert closes the trunk and begins a hurried conversation with the black man. I was inside there a while ago. Lots of cardboard boxes. Some kind of lab setup? What do you mean? There's no singing. It's a tape recorder. As the black man jumps in the station wagon and pulls away from the church into the street, rushing away, we pan back as Gilbert disappears back into the building. Leave it alone, man. Ain't none of my business, ain't none of yours. Through the binoculars. Our boy Gilbert's over there helping him. I got a job now and I plan on keeping it. I'm watching the white line all the time. I don't bother nobody, nobody bothers me. You better start doing the same. Nada still looking through the binoculars. The white line is in the middle of the road, the worst place to drive. But Frank's made up his mind. I'll see you later. He turns and walks away. We hold on Nada just watching. Frank sits by his bedroll, glances over. Nada still by that retaining wall at the perimeter, still looking through those binoculars. Frank looks away. No way he's getting involved. Nada has been there all day at the retaining wall. He's watching that basement door. Now the thumping of another damn helicopter. The camera whip pans upward as Nada's binocular view swings up and then stops on the police helicopter. Moving by slowly, 50 feet above the church, the binoculars have been brought to the helicopter in close-up. Now we see a police sharpshooter crouched in the rear compartment, staring down. Nada lowers the binoculars, stunned, and stares up at the helicopter and then back down at the church. The binoculars are up again. The basement door swings open and 5 men come racing out, hauling ass around to the parking lot. And now the blind preacher is led out by the bearded man and Gilbert. They move quickly away from the church, across the street, towards Justiceville. Nada, lowering the binoculars, looks. The main entrance, as the street preacher, bearded man, and Gilbert enter Justiceville. Nada puts the binoculars to his eyes again, and he looks over the street down from the church. A police SWAT team with black uniforms, automatic weapons, moves towards the church. The camera whip pans across the binocular view and swings back to the church. 3 cars roar out of the parking lot, down the street and away from the police. A couple of men run into the neighborhood, down alleys. Frank, by his bedroll, looks up. The circling helicopter above Justiceville. Now Frank gets up, as several people around him stir. Nada looks through the binoculars. The SWAT team arrives at the church. They storm it. Police cruisers screech in and bubble lights flash. Nada is on his feet, moving now. The street preacher being led by Gilbert and the bearded man across the field, moving further into the interior of Justiceville. We see people waking up, jumping to their feet. The family man and his son on the move, confused and scared. The drifter staring. Something near the main entrance has his attention. Nada, moving, looks over. The police cruisers pull up, flashing lights. A squad of riot cops arrive at the entrance. Helmets, riot shotguns, stormtroopers. They move through the entrance. Nada moves through the field now. People are starting to run. Frank looks up. The police helicopter is coming down. Frank moves closer to gather up his bedroll and tools. Nada looks at the helicopter, following it down the field as the helicopter lands. Nada is moving now, wind and dust swirling, blown by the rotor blades. Now a bulldozer comes rumbling in, its shovel lowering. Nada moving, Frank moving. Looking over and sees Nada, and he sees Frank. But Frank quickly turns the other way and moves off. Nada tries to follow after him. The dust and smoke obscure his vision. People run in terror around him. Moving in line, the squad of riot cops rousting everyone. The bulldozer moves through Justiceville. The shovel wipes everything out, leveling the place. Grinding through the transient outpost, lean-tos, crushing tents, the whole 9 yards. Nada, moving. Smoke now, wild panic all around him. He looks through the smoke. Gilbert yells something to the street preacher and bearded man and takes off in another direction. The bearded man helps the street preacher over the retaining wall. Nada moves off. The drifter is running from the cops, but now seems to be trapped by them at the shower area. The helicopter takes off again. Riot cops marching through Justiceville. Nada running down. Now up to the wall and over it. People are running. Smoke is drifting. Nada enters and looks. The street preacher and bearded man hurry towards one end of the alley. Suddenly they are surrounded by riot police. His point of view through the smoke. We see the riot police move in fast and begin clubbing the street preacher and the bearded man. The beating is blunt and violent and fast. Now the street preacher and the bearded man fall to the pavement, surrounded by the ring of riot cops pummeling them and bludgeoning them to death. Nada as he is splashed with powerful light from above. The police helicopter moves over the alley, its night sun searchlight flickering down. Nada ducks out of the searchlight and runs down the other direction. The other end of the alley, a line of SWAT police starts moving in on the homeless, rushing to get out. The alley is blocked from both sides. Screams, pandemonium. Nada is trapped. He ducks into a small cul-de-sac, but no way out. He looks around frantically, suddenly flattens himself against the wall. As the night sun searchlight sweeps through the cul-de-sac, misses him. Now Nada moves behind some boxes. There's the 16-year-old boy with the binoculars, cowering in fear against a wall. "Come on!" Nada grabs him, carries him to a half-open window, and climbs through. Nada enters a dark, crumbling hallway carrying the boy. The place looks deserted, doors hanging open, wallpaper ripped. Nada and the boy move on down the hall, stop at an open door, and enter. There are no lights. The room is completely trashed, floor strewn with garbage, but there are others hiding in there. The family man and his son, terrified, clinging to each other in the corner. A junkie, eyelids fluttering, a cigarette with a long ash hanging from his lips, lying against a wall. He is higher than a kite. "Come on in, man. Join the party." Nada looks around. takes the 16-year-old boy and gives him to the family man. He moves to a wall, hunkers down. "Somebody start World War III? Shut up!" They all look at him and at each other. As the screaming, running sounds of panic from outside continue, mixed in with the roaring whir of those police rotors, we slowly dissolve to Justiceville in the morning. Quiet, utter, complete desolation. Justiceville has been razed. No buildings stand. The place is a ruin. Smoke drifts. A few homeless pick around, looking for their stuff. Others stand dazed and broken. Torn apart except the TV has been spared in the rec area. It's still on. A fashion show. Oatmon's collection puts passion before fashion. Dash and trash are back. Out goes glitter and comes in divine excess. Nada walks along, taking it all in. Now Nada stops by a spot where his bedroll once lay. It's ripped apart and half buried under the dirt. His tool bundle is split open and the tools are gone. He stares a moment and then looks up. His face is a mask, eyes staring. The AME Free Church is quiet. The front doors are torn off. Smoke drifts out of the sanctuary. The windows are shattered. The place has been gutted. Nada drifts across the street. Cars drive past. Rubberneckers slow to check things out, but life goes on and they drive away. Nada moves around the side of the church. The basement door has been ripped off its hinges. It lies on the ground. A few black neighbors stand in the parking lot, staring mutely at all the damage. Now Nada moves for the basement door. He steps inside. The boards have been stripped off the windows, and all the boxes are gone. Nada moves through. The lab setup is gone. Broken glass is on the floor. The tape recorder is gone. The graffiti on the wall has been painted over with white paint. Nada, thinking, moving for that panel in the wall. It's still in place. Nada bends down and bangs on the panel. He did a good job before. It won't budge. Nada stands up and looks out a window. No one is nearby. Back to the panel, Nada puts his whole body into it, straining. And crack. The panel falls open. Those cardboard boxes are still inside, hidden in that little cubbyhole. Nada peers out. He has one cardboard box tucked under his arm. Now he ducks back inside as a police car slowly cruises by the church, slowing and then moving on again. A beat, and then Nada comes out of the basement. He runs to the rear of the church. The black neighbors watch him move through the parking lot, duck down a space between houses, away into the neighborhood. Nada moves across the bridge. He's on the edge of the central city. Factories, vacant lots, freight yards, warehouses sketch in the distance. He moves on toward the downtown LA skyscrapers. Nada walks down the dirty Skid Row street past a couple of winos asleep on the sidewalk. A better section of town now, as Nada ducks into a long, wide alley connecting two busy city streets. Nada stops. Spots a little niche, a cul-de-sac off the main alley. He steps in. A trash dumpster and several large metal trash cans provide a barrier from the alley. It's a prime spot, secret and private. Nada hunkers down behind the dumpster. He stares at that cardboard box. He waits a beat, and then he rips it open. As the lid of the box flips open, revealing 20 or so pairs of sunglasses, all the same style, simple frames. He just stares at the sunglasses. Is this what this is all about? He takes a pair out of the box. He looks at them. then just flops back against the wall, exhausted and confused. He sits for several beats and looks at the sunglasses again. Then he gets up. He takes the cardboard box of sunglasses and goes to one of the metal trash cans. He buries the box down deep among the rubbish. Nada comes out of the alley and starts walking down the street. He carries the sunglasses in his hand. Now he puts on the sunglasses. Through the sunglasses, black and white, the sidewalk, everything looks weird. It's all black and white, flickering, grainy. Some kind of weird interference moves across the lenses of the sunglasses. Suddenly, Nada gets a headache. He takes off the sunglasses. Now the headache is gone. He looks at them, examines them again, and puts them back on. A billboard across the street. A flickering effect, and then the billboard is odd. It's completely blank and white except for bold black printing. Work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, play 8 hours. Nada. A headache again. He takes off the sunglasses. Normal color. Now the billboard shows an advertisement for a home computer. We see a stylish, high-tech computer. Its screen showing vibrant business data. Bright lettering. Zeus. When excellence matters. Nada is stunned. What the? He puts the sunglasses on again. Black and white. That weird effect again printed on the billboard somehow underneath the home computer ad, like some subliminal message. Work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, play 8 hours. Nada rips off the sunglasses and looks over. Another billboard. Normal. An ad showing a handsome bronzed man and an incredibly sexy woman in a bikini, cavorting in a fancy hotel swimming pool. Printed in glitzy letters. Las Vegas. Nada, as he raises the sunglasses again. The second billboard is normal. Up into frame come the sunglasses, and the billboard changes to marry and reproduce. Now the sunglasses slide down out of frame, and everything becomes normal again. Color and the Las Vegas advertisement. Nada just stands there for a moment, dazed. He doesn't know what he's seeing. He starts walking and stops at a men's clothing store. A sign above the door reads, Armises Men's Apparel. Nada puts on the sunglasses. Now it reads in bold black letters, No independent thought. Nada looks down. A sign in the window reads, Consume. Off come the sunglasses, and in color, now the sign reads, Closeout Sale. Now Nada starts looking all around. He's stunned by what he sees. A stop sign, blank and white, reads, Sleep. A pedestrian crossing sign now reads, No thought. His point of view through the sunglasses. A stoplight. All 3 lights are pulsing hypnotically in unison. Mounted on top of the stoplight is a small surveillance device like a radar dish, slowly rotating. Nada moves raggedly down the street to a newspaper stand. He stares. The newsstand, all the newspapers, magazines, pictures, and text have disappeared, with white pages, conform, obey. Nada takes a magazine out of the rack. He flips through the pages. In black and white, all the pages are blank except for conform and watch TV, obey, buy, do not question authority. 1 slogan per page, printed in bold type. Nada lowers the sunglasses. The magazine returns to normal, filled with ad art, pictures, and print. Nada slides the sunglasses back on as the shoulder of a well-dressed customer moves into frame. He's a businessman, reaching for a copy of the Wall Street Journal. Nada looks at him. his reaction is amazing. It's either God or the devil he sees. From his point of view, the well-dressed customer is a hideous ghoul, an alien. He's still dressed in a nice suit and tie, but his skin is rotted and disintegrating, his flesh is corrupt, black-rimmed eyes like the living dead, a horror. As he speaks, his jaw moves, and you can see through to the back of his head. "What's your problem?" Nada whips off the sunglasses. Now the well-dressed customer is simply a well-to-do businessman looking at Nada stonily, a brilliant disguise. "I said, what's your problem?" Nada just stares at him. The well-dressed customer turns away and goes over to pay a disheveled-looking vendor, as Nada raises the sunglasses again. The well-dressed customer ghoul shoots him a suspicious glance and pays the human-looking vendor, then moves off. Nada pulls down the sunglasses. As the vendor doesn't change, he's human, with or without the glasses. He moves towards Nada now. "You gonna pay for that?" Nada puts on the sunglasses. The dollar bills in the vendor's hands are blank, except for, "This is your God." Down come the sunglasses, and the money returns to normal. Nada looks over. As the well-dressed customer walks to his Mercedes, he drops a full paper on the sidewalk, keeps the business section, gets into the car. The sunglasses once again come up over frame, and now he's a well-dressed hideous ghoul who shoots Nada a final glance. "Hey buddy, I don't want to hassle, okay? Either pay me or put it back." Nada numbly puts back the magazine. He's moving on autopilot now, staggering past the vendor who looks at him curiously, moving on down the street. A businessman ghoul, same awful face, stands at a payphone. "Don't worry, the insurance company will take care of that." A bus stop. Instead of the familiar advertising, there are slogans: "Stay asleep," "Watch TV." An elderly man and an Asian woman wait for the bus. They seem dazed and asleep, but another businessman ghoul is a creature who hits a vending machine and gets a free USA Today. A fancy Cadillac waiting for the lights to change. A ghoul woman talks to a human elderly woman in a passenger seat. "Can you believe? She didn't even go to Lamaze class. I told her for yourself and for the baby. Go." Off come the sunglasses, revealing a now human-looking rich woman in the place of the ghoul. She throws trash out the car window onto the street. Back with sunglasses. Yup, she's a ghoul, but the passenger isn't. Nada glances into a beauty salon window. A woman ghoul sits under a hairdryer. A human woman sits next to her, oblivious. A Chicana hairdresser, human, combs out the long tresses of a dark-haired ghoul lady. Nada moves along the street now, comes to the entrance of a large convenience market. He stares at all the signs and advertising, and then wanders inside. Nada enters and moves past the Arab clerk behind the main counter, staring at the store. A portable TV is on the counter. Nada looks over at it. A presidential candidate ghoul jabbers away, inhuman jaw flexing, half-finished skin over skull flexing, witch-like fingers moving. The presidential candidate ghoul sounds like Pat Robertson. "The feeling is definitely there. It's a new morning in America. Fresh, vital. The old cynicism is gone." As he talks, there is a constant pulsing signal being broadcast through the TV. "We have faith in our leaders, in old-fashioned values. We are optimistic as to what becomes of it all. It really boils down to our ability to accept. We don't need pessimism. There are no limits. We must look to the strength of our nation, our ideals, a vision. We don't want to just survive, we want to succeed. Close on Nada. During the candidate ghoul's dialogue, we intercut a series of shots of the convenience market as it looks through the sunglasses. All the products, packaging, signs, everything in the store that once had a label or a picture or a brand name is now just blank with slogans: conform, buy, obey, consume, submit. Two working-class women move somnambulistically through the aisles. A ghoul shopper dresses in an expensive jogging suit. He gets himself some yogurt. Two ghoul lady shoppers chat at the wine section. I was shocked she served blue corn tortillas. That's so dated. A depressed human shopper, a man in his 30s, and a perky ghoul shopper, male, stand by a frozen food section. I don't know what to do. Hey, go for it, man. A lady ghoul breaks in line in front of a Latino lady. I just have a couple of things. Nada standing there, sunglasses on, taking it all in. Something happens to Nada. He changes. This big, oh, now I get it, grin. He's liberated somehow. Crazy. He's been transformed into a dark, mischievous little boy. When he talks, it's like someone listening to earphones. They can't tell that they're talking louder than usual. It figures it would turn out to be something like this, with all the bullshit in the world. The Arab clerk looks at him. Other shoppers, including the now human-looking, jogging-suited man, stare. A rich lady in a fur coat comes around a corner pushing her cart. The bottom of her cart smacks into Nada's shin. The rich lady glances up at him, annoyed that he's in the way. The rich lady is really a rich lady ghoul. You look like your head fell into the cheese dip back in 1957. Nada turns to a Cuban lady, looking fearfully at him. You don't. You're okay. But this one, he points directly at the rich lady. Real fucking ugly. Shoppers begin moving away from Nada. He's obviously crazy. See, when I take these off, you look just like a person. But when I whip them back on, he flips them back up. Formaldehyde face. That's enough out of you. You get out, or I call the cops. The rich ghoul lady holds up her wristwatch to her lips and seems to be talking into it. I've got one that can see. Flip-flop. Down come the sunglasses and the world goes back to unfiltered non-reality. The rich lady is just holding up her wristwatch to her lips. Nada backs away toward the exit. The jogging-suited ghoul talks into his wristwatch. Doesn't appear armed, wearing sunglasses. I don't like any of this one bit. Not one bit. Nada comes out of the convenience market. Suddenly grabs his head in pain. A wave shoots through his skull. The sunglasses are affecting him. He staggers slightly. Dazed and a little dizzy, he takes off the sunglasses. Now slowly the headache seems to be subsiding. He leans against the side of a building trying to recover. The sunglasses have caused a strong physical reaction. He's sweating profusely. An Asian man in his 30s comes up. You okay? Up come the sunglasses. The Asian man is human. All Nada can do right now is stare. The Asian man moves on. Now Nada's on his feet again, still breathless, trying to get going, looking around. A ghoul lady executive checks out her appearance in a reflected window. Nada, as the high from the sunglasses hits him, He stares crazily at the now normal-looking lady executive, like pouring perfume on a pig. The lady executive shoots him a glance and moves away quickly. Wham! Something dressed in black grabs Nada and pushes him into a small alley. Nada staggers back. The figure in black turns out to be a blonde-haired cop. All right, boy, suppose we just settle down. Nada moves back into the alley away from him. That's far enough. Nada sees through the sunglasses he's a blonde-haired ghoul cop. Where'd you get those glasses? Tooth Fairy. I'll bet. Back to the no-glasses reality as the police cruiser pulls up into the alley entrance, a partner cop gets out and comes around the cruiser into the alley. Nada's point of view, through the sunglasses, the partner cop is really a partner ghoul cop, talking into his wristwatch. We got him. Nada's half-crazed, half-excited grin gets bigger. Nick yourself shaving this morning? You look as shitty to us as we do to you, boy. Impossible. The blonde-haired cop pulls a pair of handcuffs from his belt, and Nada takes another step back, takes off his sunglasses, and puts them away. The blonde-haired cop puts his hand on the gun in his holster, and his partner cop comes forward. It would be more convenient if we don't have to splatter your brains. Nada doesn't move. The two cops stand together now. No way out for Nada. Good boy. Just take it easy. You've stumbled into a little something here, and maybe we can all benefit from this slight misunderstanding. Now let's go someplace quiet so we can talk this over. As the partner cop watches, the blonde-hair cop moves for Nada, opening the handcuffs and reaching out for Nada's hands. Suddenly, Nada grabs the blonde-haired cop and jerks him forward and clotheslines him. The blonde-haired cop goes horizontal from the impact. He falls to the pavement, his head splitting with a sharp crack. The partner cop goes for his gun, but Nada lunges with 2 fingers, pokes the partner cop in his eyes hard. The partner cop is momentarily blinded in pain. Then Nada delivers 4 fast, vicious punches to his face. The partner cop goes down. Nada quickly leans over him and takes his gun out of his holster. Then he spins around, revealing the blonde-haired cop, getting up, wobbling, his gun coming out. The blonde-haired cop flops to the pavement, dead. So you bastards die just like we do. The partner cop sits up behind Nada, pulling out his nightstick. He swings and hits Nada's shoulder. Nada turns and blasts him. The partner cop rolls over dead. Nada gets up and rubs his shoulder, goes over to the blonde-haired cop and takes his gun. Then he moves to the police cruiser. He opens the passenger door and reaches in. Inside the cruiser, Nada unclips the riot shotgun from under the dash. A small crowd is starting to approach the police cruiser. They've heard the gunshots and tentatively want to see. Boom! Out steps Nada, sunglasses back on, into the street. He cautiously scans the area. 2 .38 revolvers stuck in his belt. He cocks the shotgun, looking like your worst fucking nightmare. Fast cuts of all black and white. A stop sign, conform. 2 humans backing away fearfully. Behind them is a billboard reading, Obey Authority. A pulsing stoplight. A rich ghoul lawyer staring at Nada. You can see. Very perceptive, Frankenstein. Kablamo. Nada opens up with the shotgun. The rich lawyer goes flying. Absolute panic. Screams. The crowd goes crazy. Running for cover. Shrieking. Nada starts moving up the street. As another police cruiser suddenly comes around a corner, Nada ducks into a doorway. The cruiser screams by down the street, gumballs flashing. Nada backs into the doors from the panic on the street. He turns and looks. Through sunglasses, a small stock exchange. Upscale. Fast cuts. All black and white. Computerized ticker. A ghoul behind the main desk. A stockbroker ghoul in a suit. A retired investor, human, standing next to a broker ghoul. A small crowd of humans backing away. Nada's eyes are invisible behind the sunglasses. I've come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Nada's point of view through the sunglasses as a ghoul security guard springs forward with his gun drawn and fires. The shot hits the wall next to Nada. He opens fire. Kablam! The human-looking security guard, in no glasses reality, is airborne from the impact of Nada's shotgun. Customers dive for cover. The computerized ticker as it disintegrates with a blast. The security camera on the wall as it blows apart. Customers run out the front doors, out the back way. As Nada keeps blasting away, he turns around. Through the sunglasses, he sees a ghoul stockbroker tucked away in a corner into his expensive gold wristwatch. White male, 30s, long hair, wearing sunglasses. Mama don't like tattletales. As Nada takes aim, the human-looking stockbroker turns a dial around the edge of his wristwatch. Flash! The stockbroker has simply and suddenly vanished into thin air. Nada is stunned. Then, police sirens scream. Flashing bubble lights pull up right outside, and Nada takes off through the rear. Nada emerges into another alley. He pushes a huge trash dumpster. He rolls it up against the doors, blocking them. He starts moving and looks up. A small robot spider probe, another surveillance device, a medicine ball-sized metallic globe with sensors and video lenses all over it, comes crawling down the side of the alley on long, arachnid-like metal bug legs. And who are you, little fella? Closer on the spider probe as it comes to a stop. The camera lens begins focusing and sensors are whirring. From the spider's point of view, we scan lines, numbers, and Nada down there in the alley. Nada grins. Come to show 'em where I am? Not nice. Nada opens fire with the shotgun. The spider probe explodes. In unfiltered reality, we hear the fragments showering down, but they're invisible. As a lone cop comes running into the alley, gun drawn, Nada spins around, shotgun pointed. Drop it! As the still human lone cop slowly drops his gun, beat your feet! And the lone cop runs away, back down where he came from, as a thumping sound goes overhead. The police helicopter. Nada takes off, fast. He comes around a corner, Panaglide shot, down another alley. He checks the shotgun, empty, tosses it, pulls out a .38 revolver, and that pain suddenly hits again. Nada tries to shake it off, and he ducks down the alley. Parked cars, nobody around. The distant wail of sirens getting louder and closer. Holly Thompson enters frame. She takes notice of the distant sirens. She fumbles in her purse for her keys and walks to her car. Holly is late 20s, early 30s, intelligent, upwardly mobile, equal doses of warmth, ambition, and sensuality. She arrives at her car and unlocks the door. The sounds of more sirens echoing get her attention for a second. Nada's arm springs out and grabs Holly from behind and jerks her down. Nada holds her against the side of the car. He's hurting from the effects of the sunglasses. Holly is human. Nada holds one of the 38 revolvers up, but doesn't point it at her. He lets her know that he has it. Take it easy. Nada winces from the pain in his headache. I just want a little ride out of here. Inside the car, as the door opens, Nada crawls in first and across the seat to the passenger side, dragging Holly in after him. Close the door. She closes it. She's fear-rigid and terrified. He rips off the sunglasses. His head is throbbing. Holly doesn't look at him. Drive. She starts the engine. Not too fast. As Holly's car pulls out of the parking garage onto the street, police cars are zooming by. Holly's car pulls down the street, past 4 riot policemen on foot running the other way. Holly drives. Expression of stone. They're gone. Nada's head is on fire. This time the headache stays with him. Just keep driving. Where am I going? You married? Yes. Don't lie. No. You live alone? No reply, but it's clear that she does. Your place. I'd rather not do that. I'm afraid I must insist. The Hollywood Hills, above Sunset Boulevard. Peaceful Mediterranean houses. Stilt houses. Trees. Quiet. Holly's car pulls into the driveway of her spacious home. The place is rigged for security. Bars on the front windows. Home security sign in the carport. Inside Holly's car, she turns off the engine. Nada looks over. Holly's neighbor, 40, middle class, is watering the flowers in front of his house. He looks over at Holly's car. Nada, putting on those sunglasses again and wincing in pain as the ferocious headache hits him. The neighbor is human. Okay, nice and easy like. Holly is checking the distance between herself and the neighbor, who waves at her. She doesn't wave back. Holly's hand creeps slowly toward the door handle. Holly is not looking at Nada. She's breathing in long and slow, measured breaths. Holly's hand, as she grabs the door handle to open it and make a break, only the door opens for her, and Nada is there, holding the door for her, his hand encircling her upper arm, still in enormous pain. Allow me. Holly gets out and closes the door. She and Nada walk slowly to her front door. Hi, Holly. Hi. Holly unlocks the front door. She and Nada enter. The neighbor stares curiously. Nada closes the front door and locks it. He looks around. Expensive digs. The trappings of a moneyed life. It's a cantilevered house. A deck off the front room, spectacular view of the LA basin. Nada puts on the sunglasses again, headache and all, and looks around for surveillance devices. He finds a cat sunning itself in a window. He checks the kitchen, bathroom, bedroom. Then he returns to the front room and takes off his sunglasses. He slumps in a chair, exhausted. Look, I don't know what you want. Quiet. He leans back in his chair, hands to forehead. He starts to rub his temples. He seems to ignore Holly. Silence. She goes over to a chair and sits. Finally, Nada looks at her. He holds up the sunglasses weakly. Like a drug, wearing 'em makes you high, but then you come down hard. He's tired and rambling, unsure how to explain it all. Look, things turned a little sour on me today. Huh, you're not the only one. I'm sorry. I needed you to get away. No, you have 2 guns. You're not sorry. You're in charge. Nada looks at her for a beat. Holly is very scared right now. From Holly's point of view, Nada is sitting across the room, sunglasses and guns. Psycho. We're in trouble. The whole world's in trouble. They're all around us and we never knew. He holds up the sunglasses. You can only see him with these special glasses. Now Holly is sure he's a very, very serious crazy. Lowly to herself. Jesus Christ. I swear to you, we're being controlled by these things. I don't know what they are, but we gotta stop them. I'll do whatever you want, whenever you want. Just don't hurt me. Please. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. You're fighting the forces of evil that none of us can see without sunglasses. Nada offers her the sunglasses. Take a look. All I'm trying to do is make it through this fucking day alive. That's all I want. If you want me to look through your sunglasses, I'll look through your sunglasses. If I don't see what you see, I'll see it anyway. Whatever you want. Nada withdraws the sunglasses. Have it your way. No, that's just the point. It's not my way, it's your way. Can't you just get the hell out of here? Leave me alone. Nada starts to pass out now. His eyelids flicker. I need this place to hide. Let things calm down. I'll move on. When? A little while. Holly sinks back in her chair. The situation is very grim. Nada's eyes close. Holly sits and watches him. Nada appears to have fallen asleep. A long beat. Nada is now asleep. Now Holly starts to get up out of her chair. Don't fuck with me. She sits back down. I'm thirsty. Go ahead. He opens his eyes and watches her get up and walk to the kitchen. Then he leans back in his chair again, tired, blasted. Now, Nada looks back over as Holly comes out of the kitchen, pouring herself a glass of wine from a bottle. She goes over to a large picture window. Like I was saying before, I'm sorry to have to be here. No response. Wearily, Nada gets up out of the chair and comes up over to her. Your name's Holly? Holly Thompson. Nada is still fighting off the vestiges of that headache. What do you do? Assistant Program Director, Cable 54. Now this gets his attention. TV station? Yes. There's some kind of signal coming out of the TV sets. Nada spots the remote control for the TV set by the picture window. He leans over to grab it. Let me show you. With all her might, Holly swings the wine bottle and slams it over Nada's head. It connects with a loud thwack. The sunglasses go flying out of Nada's hand across the room, and one of his guns hits the floor. Before Nada can even react, Holly shoves him right out through the picture window. Crash! As Nada falls downward some 40 feet into the shrubs and trees on the hillside below. His fall is broken by leaves and branches. Glass shards rain down all around him. As Holly picks up the telephone, Nada rolls on the ground. Glass all around. He's been cut. He finally manages to get up on his knees. Holly says into the telephone, Holly Thompson, 1329 Circleview Drive. Nada gets to his feet slowly. He looks up. Holly's house 40 feet above him. Now he reaches for his other gun. It's gone. He must have lost it during the fall. He starts frantically looking around the hillside for the gun and slips and tumbles down, sliding, falling, trying to grab onto something to stop himself. He falls down the rest of the hillside to the bottom, to a nice, quiet, deserted Hollywood Hills street. Holly into the telephone. Above sunset. No, I'm okay. Yes, I'll hold. She then looks over at Nada's sunglasses on the floor. Nada staggers across the street. The distant sound of police sirens. He clambers down some steps beside another fancy cantilevered house, down another hillside. As Holly bends down, picks up those sunglasses off the floor and stares at them curiously. The secluded wooded area under a Hollywood Hills stilted house. The part you never see. Junk piled around. Pipes, boards, trash. Nada moves over to a spot by some bushes and collapses. He looks out. The street below, as several police cruisers wind their way into the hills. Their sirens get Nada to move. He crawls away through the bushes. We dissolve to the twinkling lights of downtown LA as seen from the Hollywood Hills. Then flashing strobe lights and thumping. The dark shape of a police helicopter moving across the sky. Nada moves along the dark, lonely street. He staggers, he glances around for cops, and moves on. Swings, concrete buildings, restrooms, concrete structures, tunnels, bridges, ramps, a place for children to play. Nada comes up and finds a spot to hide inside a concrete tunnel. Nada is hidden, and the distant sound of police sirens don't stop him from finally passing out. We see a big red sun over the freeway at dawn. Cars are already starting to jam the lanes. Nada is in the concrete tunnel. He opens his eyes. He looks like shit. Blood caked on his face. He moves his head. Ouch! 2 teenage runaways are huddled in another tunnel a few feet away. They both stare at Nada. The same appliance store we saw in the beginning, with TV sets on the other side of the glass window all tuned to cable 54. This time the sound is turned down, but Nada's picture flashes on all screens during a news broadcast. It's an older photo. He has short hair. Here comes Nada, out of an alley, moving past the appliance store, not seeing himself on TV. He checks the intersection for signs of police. He crosses the street. We see Frank working, wiping his brow, putting down his tools and disappearing behind a half-completed wall. Frank stops for a drink of water, and Nada emerges from behind a pile of cinder blocks. "Frank!" Frank drops his cup of water. "Don't let nobody see you." "I've had a rough couple of days." Now Frank backs away from him. "I don't want nothing to do with you." Nada stares at him. "How many people did you kill?" "Not people." "Crazy son of a bitch." "I gotta show you something." "No, man, you ain't showing me nothing. I got a wife and kids, so leave me alone. Get out of here." And Frank moves off. Nada watches him for a beat, and then slowly creeps away behind the cinder block wall. Frank walks back over to where he was working. He picks up his tools. He looks back over where Nada was. His face softens for a moment and then tightens back into anger. That long, wide alley connecting 2 city streets. Nada enters from the street, looking around for cops, and moves to the cul-de-sac. Past the trash dumpster up to a can where he left those boxes of sunglasses, but the can is empty. "No!" Nada turns, comes out of the cul-de-sac. At the other end of the alley is a trash truck. A sanitation worker dumps trash into the compactor in the rear. Nada goes for the trash truck down the alley. The sanitation worker hasn't seen him. He puts the cans back and circles around to the cab. Nada moves faster, reaches the truck, leans in the rear. Mountains of trash inside. Nada grabs onto the truck and pulls himself up. He crawls in the compactor, as the truck starts up and moves forward. Inside the compactor, Nada searches through garbage, digging down. Ka-chunk! The compactor starts up. Now the garbage is moving, pushed by the giant shovel. Desperately, Nada digs and finds that box of sunglasses. There are only 4 glasses left inside. Nada half stumbles, half jumps out of the back of the truck, just as the compactor crushes the garbage inside. Nada moves against the wall of the alley as the trash truck pulls out into the street beyond. Now, Nada starts back down the alley in the other direction, taking out a pair of sunglasses. As Frank steps out from behind a trash dumpster, Nada stops and looks at him. Frank stares hard, then pulls a folded stack of bills from his pocket and tosses it towards Nada. The money plops on the pavement. 1 week's pay. Best I can do. Frank turns away to leave. Nada puts on the sunglasses. Everything is black and white. That interference again. But there's Frank. Human. Wait! Frank turns to Nada. Find yourself someplace to hide and keep praying no one ever finds you. Nada moves toward Frank, taking out a single pair of sunglasses from the box. Put these on. You crazy mother. Put them on. Nada moves for Frank. Hey, get away from me. But Nada grabs a hold of Frank and pushes him up against the wall. I'm telling you, you dumb son of a bitch, try 'em on. And Frank responds. He hauls off and delivers a hard right to Nada's chin. Nada is knocked back a foot or two. His sunglasses fly off. He just looks at Frank. I'm trying to save you and your family's life. You couldn't even save your own. Nada strikes, smashes a fast right into Frank, sending Frank into the pavement. Frank sits up and looks at Nada. I'm giving you a choice. Either put on these glasses or start eating that trash can over there. Slowly, Frank gets to his feet. Not this year. And we begin the fight in the alley as Nada and Frank go at each other. This was omitted from the script, but what I can tell you is this is the longest fist fight scene ever recorded in any movie. Alright, back to the script. Search YouTube for the fight scene from They Live, and you'll find it. Finally, after Nada and Frank have beaten each other all over the alley, Nada barely manages to get the best of Frank, a fast few punches. Finish off with a side duplex as Nada lifts Frank up and slams him down hard on the pavement. But both men are exhausted and beaten. Nada keeps Frank pinned and puts the sunglasses on him. Then he picks Frank up and drags him to the end of the alley. Frank looks around and goes nuts. He sees the world as it really is. He sees everything. Nada pulls Frank back into the alley and holds him against the wall. You were asleep. You thought you were what you watched on TV. Now look over there. Through sunglasses, a lawyer ghoul walks past on the street. Look at him. They're everywhere. Frank starts to bolt. Nada holds on to him. Hold on. You're not the first son of a bitch to wake up out of their dream. But now Frank is looking up. What is that? Nada grabs a pair of sunglasses and puts them on. Another spider robot surveillance probe crawls across the roof from one building to another. It's too far away to have seen them. Nada pulls Frank out of the alley into the shelter of the cul-de-sac. He grabs Frank's wad of bills on the way. Frank takes off the sunglasses and fights the headache. He stares at Nada in complete dumbfoundment. Life's a bitch, and she's back in heat. Nada and Frank come down the street, both wearing sunglasses. Two desperate figures, bruised, cut, watching for police, for surveillance probes. They step over two sleeping drunks and enter the lobby of a transient hotel. A post-Victorian dump, dilapidated. A few drunks and homeless cluster around an old flickering black and white TV set. The desk clerk is nodding off. He comes to as Frank approaches. Nada stays off to the side, trying to keep his face hidden. "I want a room." Nada and Frank make their way along the rundown hallway. An old ratty room, stained walls, a bed, a window looking out on the rumbling streets below. Frank closes the door and locks it. The two men look at each other. They've just beaten each other to shit. Both are fugitives. Ain't love grand? Time passes, and Nada is now by the sink. He has his shirt off. He splashes water on the glass cuts on his back and shoulders, and looks around. Frank stands by the window. He stares out at the skyline. He puts on the sunglasses. He winces from the pain. He looks at the world outside. Don't wear the glasses too long. It starts to feel like a knife turning in your skull. Frank takes them off. He looks dazed now, stunned. How long have they been there? Who knows? What are they? Where do they come from? They ain't from Cleveland, I can tell you that. He looks at the sunglasses. We can't be the only ones who can see. We gotta find the people who made these. And then what? A day or so later at night, Frank sits by the window staring out. Nada is sitting in an old chair, still exhausted, burned out. He's bandaged, but his eyes glow. Did I tell you? I'm a Christian. Frank looks at him. My old daddy took me to the river. He kicked my ass and told me about the power and the glory. And then I got saved. He tried to cut me once. Big old buck knife. Held the blade right across my throat. I said, "Daddy, please." He moved the blade back and forth, right across here. He touches his throat. He changed when I was little. I never knew why before, but I've been tearing at the world ever since. Those things out there must love it, watching us dangle at the end of our ropes, seeing us destroyed by our own cold fucking hearts. But I've got some news for 'em. Gonna be some hell to pay, 'cause I'm not Daddy's boy no more. As Frank enters, carrying a sack of groceries, wearing his sunglasses, he moves across the lobby to the stairs. A camera moves over to reveal Gilbert, the transient from Justiceville, wearing an identical pair of sunglasses, sitting in a chair. Gilbert recognizes Frank. As Frank moves up to the door, "Frank!" Frank turns. Gilbert stands there for a moment, and then comes down the hall toward him. Nada and Frank sit listening to Gilbert. "There's a meeting tonight." He scribbles down the address on a piece of paper. "Be at this address, 11 o'clock. Watch out nobody follows you." He hands the paper to Frank. "The movement is growing. There are more of us every day. What are we going to do? The world needs a wake-up call, and we're going to phone it in." Nada and Frank walk down a dark, lonely street, up to an old, crumbling brick warehouse. Frank knocks at the door. It opens. A Hell's Angel steps out, looks over Frank and Nada, but he's not wearing sunglasses. "Hey, brothers." Nada and Frank look at him suspiciously. "I can still see you." He points to his eyes. "Something new going down." Nada and Frank enter the warehouse. There are guards at the window with guns, Uzis, shotguns. Some scan with binoculars, but nobody wears sunglasses. About 30 or so people clustered in groups are spread around. Some stand in front of a TV set showing a videotape. Others just talk intensely. They are working women, Vietnam vets, Asians, Latinos, blacks, handicapped, including a man in a wheelchair, gang kids, ex-cons, bikers, homosexuals, college professors, an assortment of young children. Nada and Frank stop at a table. The brown-haired lady who served food at Justiceville hands them each a small packet. "Glad you made it. Take off your sunglasses. We're all human in here." They take off their glasses and wince from the resulting pain. A scruffy blonde man walks by in the background, handing out Xeroxed sheets. "Memorize these safe houses." Nada opens the small packet. Inside are contact lenses. "Brand new. Got the first shipment today. They don't hurt. There's less interference." Nada and Frank put the contact lenses in their eyes. "Walk around. Get to know people. Watch the videotape. It explains everything." Now Nada and Frank walking through the warehouse, taking it all in. The bearded man from the church sits against a blank background on the TV set. "There is a signal broadcast every second of every day through our television sets, even when the set is turned off." "They killed him that first night." "Who is he?" "I don't know." A scruffy blonde man walks behind them. "Memorize the safe houses." "Safe houses." Nada and Frank moving on now. On the TV set, "We are receiving commands from these creatures in the form of pre-conscious suggestions. Instructions that enter our brain below the threshold of awareness. Their signal hypnotizes our grandmother cells, neurons in our brain that recognize familiar faces, parents, and loved ones." Nada and Frank, as Gilbert comes up to them. "Have any trouble getting here?" "No, we made it fine." "The city is crawling with cops looking for us. Most of the cops are human. They've been told we're commies trying to bring down the government, but some of them are being recruited. The creatures are trading wealth and power." "You mean people are joining up with them?" "I'm sorry to say. When people learn the truth, most of us just sell out right away. They all of a sudden are promoted. Our bank accounts get bigger. We buy houses, cars. Perfect, isn't it? We'll do anything to be rich." Now they're drawn to the TV set again. "Carbon dioxide, fluorocarbons, and methane have increased since 1958. Earth is being acclimatized. They've turned our atmosphere into their atmosphere. What do these things want? Why are they here?" "It's in their best interests. They're free enterprisers. Earth is just another developing planet. Their third world. We humans use the forests and the lands. They use us. We're like a natural resource to them. Deplete one planet, move on to the other. They want benign indifference. They want us drugged. We could be pets, we could be food, but all we really are is livestock." A table filled with weapons. All kinds. Rifles, pistols, machine guns, grenades. As Nada, Frank, and Gilbert come up. Now Gilbert moves off as Nada and Frank begin loading up with weapons, as the black man from the AME church examines an expensive gold Rolex wristwatch nearby. "Ever see their disappearing act?" "Yeah, once." Frank indicates the watch. "What's that?" "They all wear these expensive watches. Turns out they're really two-way radios. You can listen in to their broadcasts." He offers it to Frank, who takes the watch and examines it. "But there's something else. Some kind of secret code or a hidden control. They push a button, and all of a sudden, bang, they're gone. I've been trying to figure it out." Now Nada is looking off. A large group has gathered around Gilbert. He seems to be the leader. Their detection is getting more effective. We have to be more careful. Stay aware of keeping up appearances. Go to work. Punch your time clock. Do what's expected of you. We've gotten reckless, and the movement is suffering for it. Someone at the rear of the crowd moves, revealing the family man from Justiceville. Time to stop talking about it, trying to figure out how it happened. Now, we start spilling some blood. A wave of energy goes through the crowd. They're up for it. Wait a minute! It's not working. They've infiltrated the police, the government, everything. We don't stand a chance with a few guns and grenades. So what are we supposed to do? Bide our time. Try to locate their signal and shut it off. Wake people up. The crowd settles down. The opportunities will present themselves. The greatest contribution you can make is to play their game. Familiarize yourself with your workplace. Gather information. Now David here, he indicates a Latino man nearby, works at KTLF. He claims the signal may be coming from one place. And there, across the room, stepping forward, is Holly. She still carries Nada's original sunglasses in her hands. KTLF is clear. Their transmission is going out clean. The signal is coming from somewhere else. Nada sees her. And now she sees him. She looks shaken, vulnerable. As the meeting continues, she takes a couple of steps towards him and stops. Nada stares at her, and then leans over to Frank. I gotta talk to somebody. Nada moves away as Frank examines that wristwatch. Nada moves through the crowd and stops. There's still quite a distance between he and Holly. They just stand there and look at each other. Are you okay? Yeah. I thought I'd killed you. I thought so too. I don't know. I'm so sorry. She takes a tentative step toward him. Look, I just want to... Can we just... And boom! The wall explodes. Debris flies through the air. Holly is knocked backwards. Nada is hit with debris and falls. All hell breaks loose in the warehouse. Get out! Get out! A guard at the window is riddled with bullets. The front door explodes. People run. Holly is dazed, being swept off in a crowd of frenzied people. Nada gets to his feet, sees her, moves for her. Holly reaches out for Nada, being carried off by the flow of the crowd through the smoke. Frank comes up to Nada as the family man is hit. He goes down. Come on! Frank drags Nada along. Frank and Nada exit the building. The small alley between the warehouse and another building is right in the middle of a huge firefight. Drifting smoke. Broken water pipes spew water. Riot police surround the alley on fire escapes, and brick walls above, firing down. People are running, firing back at the riot police. Blazing guns. Nada and Frank blasting away, moving back down the tiny little alley. Another part of the alley, smoke and fire. There's Holly, looking for Nada. She can't find him. Ducks the gunfire. Nada and Frank shooting wildly. There's Gilbert with an Uzi blasting. Gilbert is hit. He falls. Nada and Frank round a corner. Another part of the alley. Holly, running from the drifting smoke away from the firefight. Nada and Frank backing into the end of the alley, trapped. They fire. Riot police fall from the walls and fire escapes. Nada and Frank, only the two of them left, trapped behind a barricade of junk and debris. A ferocious firefight. Now the firing stops. Quiet, drifting smoke. Nada and Frank staring out, hearing the distant sounds of screaming and gunfire. They're killing everybody! I gotta find her. Nada starts forward, but Frank holds him back. Wait a minute, man, are you crazy? I gotta see if she's all right. But Frank pulls Nada back into their little barricade. Just stay here. There's nothing you can do out there. Now Frank fumbles with that fancy wristwatch out of his pocket. If I can turn this thing on, we can listen in. Get set to sweat. Down the alley, here comes another squad of riot police. They open fire. Nada and Frank duck as the wristwatch falls to the pavement and flashes. What was that? Their barricade is riddled with gunfire. They return fire. The wristwatch is on the pavement. It's actually glowing, pulsating, and then flashing. The screen goes white, and then suddenly in the alley floor, a weird tunnel that glows with blue light. It goes right down through the ground, 6 or 7 feet. Down below, through the tunnel, is a concrete floor. A strange, filtered female voice echoes weirdly from inside the tunnel. Attention! This entryway is temporary and will disappear in 20 seconds. Get in there! Say what? Move! Coming down the alley towards them. The riot cops are a line of firing soldiers moving inexorably towards them. You have 10 seconds. 9, 8. We don't know what's down there. High angle looking down as Frank jumps straight down into the tunnel, falling out of sight. Now! Nada lets fire with another couple blasts and drops down into the tunnel. 4, 3, 2. Nada falls to the concrete floor, and wham! A flash of light from above. The tunnel in the ceiling simply disappears. Silence. Nada and Frank find themselves standing in what seems to be a funky underground passageway. Concrete, overhead lights, pipes and wires running along the ceiling. High-tech it isn't. The passageway looks like it goes on forever. If you need assistance in finding your destination, bilingual instructions are posted at the end of each corridor. The voice comes from an old speaker in the ceiling. Now the female voice repeats the instructions in a strange alien language, Ghoulese. What language is that? And where the hell are we? Under the city. Like some kind of underground base. Nada is on the move. Frank follows. There's gotta be a way out. I'm just hoping they didn't see us drop in. They move down the hall. Another section of the alien passageway, where one corridor intersects with another. Nada and Frank approach a corner. Slow and stop. They listen as the camera moves to reveal a guard station just a few feet down another passageway. 2 guards, human-looking, in no-contact lens reality, dressed like green berets, fatigues, sidearms, and berets. One of them talks into a futuristic-looking walkie-talkie. Right. Okay. He hangs up the walkie-talkie and turns to the other guard. We got him. Wiped him out. Now the 2 guards give each other a high five, turn, and walk away, as the camera moves back over to see Nada and Frank listening. Now they quickly slip across the corridor intersection, unseen, and move off down another passageway. As Nada and Frank come up to another intersection, this time Nada stops and glances down one corridor. I'm hearing something. They cautiously enter the corridor. And now, you have all put forth an unprecedented effort to make this division the success story it is tonight. Cheers of applause. In a ballroom, at the end of the corridor, an expensive hotel. Slowly, Nada and Frank step in. They are in the back of the ballroom, unseen by over 100 people sitting at tables, humans in tuxedos. They applaud a manager who addresses them from behind a lectern. The crowd is mostly white, male, a couple of women. It's like a convention of yuppies, or a small version of the Academy Awards. Ever since we initiated mutual cooperation, the gains have been substantial. For both ourselves and you, the human power elite. Cheers and applause. Nada and Frank move cautiously along the rear wall of the ballroom watching through contact lenses. A few ghouls mixed in among the humans listening to a ghoul manager in his tuxedo. You have given us entree to the resources we need in our ongoing quest for multi-dimensional expansion, and in return, the per capita income of you here tonight has grown in this year alone by an average of 39%. Big cheers. Our projections show that by the year 2025, not just America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and dominion of this power alliance. Earth is our stepping stone for a greater galactic purpose. And I have just received word that our forces have won a major victory. We have destroyed the terrorist underground network on the West Coast. As of this moment, we are off crisis alert. The situation is normal again. More cheers. Nada and Frank are watching as a hand suddenly enters frame and touches Nada's shoulder. They turn, startled. It's the Drifter from Justiceville. He's dressed in a tuxedo, too. How you doing, boys? I didn't know you'd been recruited. Nada and Frank are speechless. Welcome aboard. Say, you boys should have dressed for the party, now that you can afford it. He glances at the gathering. I'm just proud to be here. Have you seen the whole place? Haven't gotten around to it. Come on, I'll show you. The Drifter leads them over to another concrete passage, leading off the ballroom. You know, I knew we had a lot in common when we first met. They move along the alien passageway. Excuse me, but where the hell are we? Backstage at the show, boys. You know, it's a little funky, but it serves the purpose. How'd you get here? Using one of those portable jobs? The Drifter admires his expensive gold wristwatch. I know we're only supposed to use them in case of emergency, but they're so much fun. He leads them to another corridor junction, entering a side passageway. Now, if you think that's neat, look at this. They take a few steps down the corridor and stop. At the end of the hallway, matte painting. The walls, the floor, and the ceiling end in a massive loading dock. Beyond the loading dock is blackness and millions of stars. Nada and Frank are frozen, staring in speechless wonder. Go on, take a closer look. Nada moves forward a couple of steps, cautiously. The loading dock. Outer space. 2 glowing suns in the distance, side by side. That's where they came from. Now Nada moves back to Frank and the Drifter. I don't know how it works exactly. Some kind of gravitational lens deal, bending of light or something. But you can move from place to place, world to world if you want. It works like a big airport. And they're off again down the passageway. Boys, let me tell you, they've got their act together, believe you me. Now Nada and Frank and the Drifter come to the end of the passageway, which is a low-lit, complex control room of a TV station. A sign identifies it as Cable 54. The Drifter leads them in, and the camera follows through several rooms of equipment and monitors. Bustling people go about their jobs. The brains of the whole operation. Master signal goes out to the satellite from here. We pump it out all over the world. Pretty fancy joint. Not too familiar with it myself. They turn a corner, and there are 2 more guards, dressed like Green Berets, who stand in front of a window looking into the Cable 54 set. 2 news anchors are reporting the nightly news. This is as far as we go. Think you can get us inside? The drifter looks at him. Even Frank is not sure what's up. Never been inside of a TV station before, and you seem to be the gentleman to ask. Sure, no problem. He indicates the guards. These guys are friends of mine. The drifter walks up to the first guard. Hey, I got a couple of my buddies here. Thought I'd give them the grand tour. Nada and Frank tense slightly as the guards look their way. From Nada's point of view through contact lenses, black and white, the first ghoul guard and the drifter. Think we can go in? Be serious. You have your authorization cards? And Nada pulls out his 9mm. Right here! He and Frank open fire. Both guards, now human-looking again in no-lens reality, are hit and fall. The drifter looks stunned as Frank shoves the barrel of his gun right in the drifter's face. Don't kill him! Nada moves to the window. No one in the set heard the gunshots. Soundproof. He comes over to the drifter. Where's that signal? The roof, I think. Nada to Frank. Holly works in there. If she made it, maybe we can find her, and then go up there to break the signal. Wait, boys, wait, you're making a big mistake. You made the mistake. The drifter is on the move now, making a desperate pitch. No, listen, I thought you boys understood. It's all just business, that's all. No different than England and Spain sending ships to the New World for spices and gold. I don't think you boys get it, do you? Ain't no countries anymore. No good guys. They're running the whole show. They own everything, the whole planet. They can do whatever they want. So why not have it good? They'll let us have it good if we help them. They'll leave us alone. Let us make some money. You could have a little taste of the good life too. I know you want it. Hell, everybody does. You would do this to your own kind? What's the threat? We all sell out every day. Might as well be on the winning team. Wham! As a Green Beret guard steps through the doorway behind them and aims a pistol. Nada spins around and blammo! The guard is hit and falls back. As the drifter lifts his gold wristwatch, his hand around the dial, a grin on his face. See ya, boys! And the drifter is gone, disappeared. Now Nada pulls the pin on the grenade. He throws it down a stairwell. Inside the set, suddenly the door explodes. The news anchors react. Cameramen scream. Jump for cover! Out of the doorway steps Nada and Frank, guns drawn. Through contact lenses, 2 ghoul news anchors, human camera woman and program director ghoul ducking behind a desk. Another ghoul advertising director by a water cooler. Nada and Frank open fire, blasting the news anchors and program director. The advertising director is hit, goes into the water cooler. Others race for the door, dash off down hallways. An alarm bell sounds. Now Nada and Frank are on the move. Let's go! Frank and Nada move down a hallway. 2 Green Beret guards appear out of the doorway. Nada and Frank blast them. Behind them, 4 more come running. A wild gunfight. People screaming and running. Nada and Frank keep moving. Around a corner. Faster. More guards. Gunfire. Up ahead of them, guards appear. Nada and Frank blast their way through and turn a corner. Nada and Frank run down another hallway, firing at guards behind them. The camera panaglides along with them, racing along. Up ahead, down the hall, Holly steps out of a doorway. She stares at them as they approach. What's going on? Nada grabs her on the run. Come on! Now she's running with them. They came to the end of the hall. 2 guards at the top of the stairway. They open fire. Frank grabs Holly to protect her. Nada blasts the guards and charges up the stairs. Frank starts to follow, but Holly suddenly pulls a gun and pulls it to Frank's temple. Blam! Nada emerges from the stairwell door and moves across the roof to a huge satellite dish. Nada comes up to it. Through contact lenses, there at the base of the dish is a glowing, throbbing master signal panel, a huge humming console that can only be seen through the glasses or lenses. Assuming Frank and Holly are right behind him, Nada takes aim at the panel. Frank! Are you and Holly clear? I'm clear. Are you? Nada turns. There's Holly in the stairwell door holding a gun on him. Don't do it. Don't interfere. You can't win. Nada is devastated. Slowly he turns to her. He can only stare. Come back inside. Now across the roof, rising up from below the edge, comes a police helicopter. The helicopter just hangs there hovering, and another police chopper rises up right next to it. Nada standing there. He looks back at the master signal console. He looks over at Holly again. It's over. He drops his gun and looks down. Then suddenly pulls a hidden snub-nosed .38 and fires. Holly is hit. She gets off a shot as she's blown backwards through the door down the stairwell, but she missed Nada. He turns and pulls the pin on the grenade. He holds it over the satellite dish. One of the helicopters moves abruptly. Move away from the transmitter, or we will open fire. Nada smiles. He knows he has them. If you're not away from the dish in 10 seconds, we will open fire. Like hell you will. Now he takes the snub-nosed .38 and aims it down at the master signal. Kablam! His point of view as the master signal explodes. It shatters, fizzes, spews, and flashes. As a fountain of sparks and smoke spew up into the night sky, we fast cut all in color as people wake up. A ghoul is now visible. It's a news anchor giving a report. The Oscars winner give a press conference on how to buy a sailboat as Prime News continues. There are people running by camera yelling. News anchor ghoul. What's wrong? Director voice. Ted, you look like shit. Inside a bartender looks at a TV set that shows two ghoul movie critics like At the Movies with Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel. All this sex and violence on the screen has gone too far for me, Roger. I'm fed up with it. At the bar, a ghoul drinker is now visible among all the human drinkers who react to him. They can now see him. Working class home, wife 30s watches in amazement. The Cable 54 logo on the TV set, except now a happy American human is jumping up and slapping hands in slow motion with a happy ghoul. The wife looks over. Yup, she has a ghoul husband who slowly turns to her. Middle class home, 3 teenage girls watch on the TV set. MTV, except a ghoul rock star performs in a video. Ooh, that is so bitchin'. In a dark apartment, TV in the background, showing a ghoul in a commercial for a new car. In the foreground is a woman, 20s, naked, obviously in the throes of passion, on top of an unseen partner below. She looks over and sees the ghoul on TV, and then looks down at her partner in horror. Her partner is a ghoul. They've been making love, and now he is visible. He looks up at her. What's wrong, baby? Black screen. The war for the world began that night. It was led by a homeless man called John Nada. The end. Alright, if you made it all the way to the end, make sure to let me know in the comments below. I really like hearing that you guys have enjoyed my videos and that you made it all the way to the end. If you have a suggestion, just like this, They Live was a suggestion that one of the comments made, I think just 3 days ago when this is posted, please leave it down below and I'll get to it really soon. Remember, 95+% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed. So if that describes you, consider subscribing. It supports me and it gives me encouragement to keep making these. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next movie reading.